Good afternoon, students. For today's session of SAP, we have Nagraj sir with us. Nagraj sir, you can continue with your class, sir.
Sure, Kunal. Yeah. Seems you have started early. I'll start by sharp 11. Okay. You still have a minute left. Thank you, Kunal, and good morning and a very warm welcome to all the attendees. So, after yesterday's session, probably by now you should have felt the subject to be very, very interesting. Lots and lots of things to learn. Yeah, you agree with me? So, let's wait for maybe say I do not see many attendees. I just see 71, 76. Let's wait for 2 or 3 more minutes and then let's wait for the strength so that whenever I recap the session. See, recap is, I wouldn't necessarily say that I would be doing a revision of the whole of, whatever has happened only yesterday. It could be from class number 1 also, right? So as I said, the more the number of repetitions, the newer things you learn, because each and every time I visit or rather I revisit a topic, there are definitely some additional points which I will definitely make. Yeah. So yeah, let's wait for a couple of more minutes. And in the meantime, you're most welcome to put up any questions, ask me any questions. If some concepts are not clear, please feel free to ask me. All right. And yeah, the sessions as of now may seem a little repetitive, a little boring, uh, a little too very lengthy. But when you start your work on the SAP systems, you will really be thankful for all these repetitions. Yeah. Yeah, just 2 or 3 more minutes and then we will start. In the meantime, I am available for any questions from your end. I'm just waiting for the students to log in. One more minute and then I will start. Okay, we will have a recap of yesterday's sessions or sessions which have happened till yesterday also. You're most welcome to ask me questions from any of the sessions, or if you people would have got time to go through uh, the course content, you're most welcome to ask me questions. Now, let us start the recap with what is a company code. So we are very well aware as to what is a company code now. A legal entity which can independently generate the financial statements. Fair enough. Now, how is the business entity or the legal entity which we have defined as per the Companies Act? How is it being recognized or how was it identified in a specific SAP system? It is through a unique 4-charactered code. For example, if you are implementing SAP for Tata Consultancy Services, or maybe say for Reliance Jio, or maybe say for Reliance Smart, or for whatever it is, you identify these entities through a short and a unique 4-charactered code, which could be normally 99 times out of the 100, it is numerical. It is numerical. And this is exactly what SAP also advises. SAP has a certain thing called as the best practices. So as per the best practices means what exactly or what ideally should be followed as far as the SAP product is concerned, right? So as far as the standard practices advised by SAP, all the company codes should ideally be numbers. Yeah, but it gives you the flexibility of having only alphabets or numbers and alphabets. That is up to the consultant who's designing the SAP system for a specific client or for a specific business partner, sorry, or rather a implementing partner. Here I'm taking Hindustan Unilever Limited or Tata's or your Reliance, and I'm assuming that I am from an implementing company, IBM. Okay, I am there to design the system for my implementing partners. Clear? Now, so it could be your company codes may look like this. Just fair enough, and it is very well allowed by SAP. Clear? Now, did we learn anything new apart from this? So yesterday, we spoke about something called as a standard SAP system. Let me add this. These two company codes are delivered by SAP as a standard product. Meaning to say, if I'm working on an SAP system for Hindustan Unilever Limited, and my colleague is working in the US, say for some other company, right? And he's implementing SAP for some other company. Both of us will find in our SAP systems as a standard deliverable by the SAP product, these two companies by default. These two company codes will definitely be available in any of the systems opened by any of the individual across the globe. not only in one physical or one geographical location. So now I think probably the understanding of the term standard is understood. So it is not only as a company code that SAP delivers as standards. Coming to or moving ahead with what is a chart or a charts of accounts. Guys, very, very important as far as your domain is concerned, because you are perfect finance professionals and you need to know inside out of what you're talking, especially from our module perspective. Even I am a finance professional, right? So even I have, and even I'm a qualified CMA, right? Along with a lot of coding and programming experience. So why I brought about these points about myself is the expectation is something very high, because you are a qualified CMA and moreover you are also considered to be a subject matter expert, SME, right? So you may also come across this word or this terminology in SAP called as SMEs, subject matter experts. Okay, now what is a chart of accounts or what are charts of accounts? Now, when you're talking about, see, now the finance person constructs the company code. So do you mean to say that once you have created the company code, you can start entering your financial transactions? How will the system understand what are the general ledger accounts that my company code should use? So you need to have a master record or the master data for the general ledger accounts, which is again the responsibility of only the finance person. No other module person creates this chart of accounts. The company code and the chart of accounts, they are the responsibility of only the finance professionals. Now, coming back to the better understanding of what is a chart of accounts. So you have to create the list of general ledger accounts which your implementing partner is going to use. So depending on the size of the business, you are going to, and see, in the very first or the second day, when we went through the responsibilities of a person called as a consultant, we made a point, or rather, probably you may remember a point saying that he should be in a position to understand the business of the implementing partner. So only and only when he understands the business in its entirety, he can be in a position to view what is the list of the general ledger accounts probably the implementing partner may use. Now, I said in one of my projects, we had designed the chart of accounts consisting of 7,000 or even 7,000 plus general ledger accounts. So that was the magnitude of the business. We were catering to a telecom giant in the Europe belt. Okay, so he was He has spread across his business in all the regions, APAC, Europe, US. All right. So you could imagine the size of the chart of accounts consisting of 7,000 plus general ledger accounts. And who's responsible? Only and only the finance professional, only and only the finance person. Now, as a finance person, I have constructed the company code. I have also designed a chart of accounts for my company code. Okay. Now, how does the poor SAP system know which company code should use which chart of accounts? In one SAP system, as you may see later, I'm not the only person working on my SAP system, right? On the SAP system, there'll be thousands of users working. So now, why I made this point is in your demo system, yesterday we had something called as IDES. International Demo Education System. This is the most preliminary of all the SAP systems which would be given to the learners. People who are interested in learning SAP, they would be given a very, very elementary SAP system called the IDES, International Demo Education System. So in this IDES system, you may find, not you may, you will definitely find hundreds and hundreds of company codes. Clear? Because I and you will not be the only users of this IDES system. This IDES system provided by SAP will be used by n number of users across the globe. So how will poor SAP system, out of those 100 company codes and out of 100 charts of accounts, even I would have created my own chart of accounts, you people who you would have created your own chart of accounts. I'm assuming, okay, I'm assuming this scenario. At this moment, you're not going to create anything. Okay, it is not the part of the course. You're not going to create anything, right? Now, so like so many of them would have his or her own company code, his or her own chart of accounts. So how will the SAP system understand which company code should use which set of general ledger accounts? So we spoke about a concept called as a variant principle, wherein you define an entity. Like, for example, our entity for the current moment is our chart of accounts. I define, or rather I create. What do I do with the chart of accounts? I fill in the general ledger accounts used by my implementing partner. It could be 1,000 general ledger accounts. It could be 2,000 general ledger accounts. So I fill in after understanding. I'm a consultant. I'm understanding the business of my implementing partner. So I conclude that he requires, say, some 800 general ledger accounts. So I design the 800 general ledger accounts and put it in my master list chart of accounts. So only when I link my company code with my chart of accounts, only then the SAP system will understand that, okay, this is the set of general ledger accounts which is going to be used by this company code. Clear? So this is your definition, putting in the data or populating that particular entity with the relevant data and setting up the relationship, assigning the company code with that particular chart of accounts. Clear? And this is followed not only for your chart of accounts, for any other entity also. You need to complete the SAP system by defining, by populating, and finally by assigning. Clear? This is your variant principle. Now, understanding the chart of accounts in a much better way. So how many types of charts of accounts are available in the SAP system? You have the operational, you have the group, you have the country chart of accounts. And out of which is the compulsory assignment? You have the operational chart of accounts to be assigned to a company code for you to enter the financial transactions. So this assignment is must. One company code to one operational chart of accounts. Clear? So yesterday we discussed the scenarios under what circumstances you have to use the group chart of accounts only when you have the consolidation, meaning once when the should I call them the subsidiaries? I don't know. Okay, so take for example your Reliance, all the JioSmart, I mean the Reliance Smart, the Reliance Jio, Reliance Trends, they are reporting back to the Reliance group. Clear? The results will not be declared only for Reliance Jio or only for Reliance Smart or only for Reliance Trends. So as a top level management, as the owner of Reliance, the chairman or the CEO will want to know the business of the entire business in the as a wholesome results. Clear? And it is up to the heads of the businesses, like say somebody would be leading Jio, somebody would be the head of Reliance Smart, somebody would be the head of Reliance Trends. So these people who are managing the business of the individual businesses of a mother company, they will have to report back to the group. They'll have to report back to the corporate office. Clear? So it is only under those circumstances that you have both your operational chart of accounts and your group chart of accounts. Okay, you are going to use both the charts of accounts. Clear? Now the country chart of accounts. This I really don't remember any of the if I've ever used the country chart of accounts. But why SAP has given you this option at all? The country chart of accounts is used when there is a unique requirement of a particular country wherever you want to establish your business that has a unique requirement as far as the reporting is concerned. So in that case, what would you do? You would have to use the set of accounts typical to that particular place. Clear? If my business establishes itself in some other country and that country has its own reporting requirements, I very well have to submit my statements or submit my results based on the requirements of that particular country, not as I want. If I want to do the business there, I very well should report in the way they want. Clear? You're able to understand? So this is when I am using the country chart of accounts. So the most mandatory is your operational chart of accounts. If somebody asks you about the chart of accounts, this is the information what you must provide. If you are asked in an interview, okay, after you qualify as CMAs, and probably you also tell the interviewer that, okay, I also know about SAP. Recently, we finished a course. So he will tell you, please tell me what you know about SAP. Okay, tell me more about what you have understood from the charts of accounts. Tell me more about what is a company code. So like this, because you are from the finance background, he will not ask you very, very complex questions. Please do not, because he will also know that you are a fresher. So the only thing what he's going to test is the very basic knowledge. All right. And your communication. Communication in the field of SAP is very, very important. Okay, that is what is actually as freshers, this is what is expected from UP. And see, you're professionally qualified also. See, tomorrow, if you are qualified CMAs, you can see the market expectations, right? So now account groups. The next topic, or the next organizational object, or the organizational element, because we have stepped into our charts of accounts. This account group is nothing but you are classifying your charts of accounts into definite blocks. Yeah. So you have 1 to 100 as assets. It's just my imagination. Yeah. It is just my assumption, right? Now I can also have like this. For example, just hold on. I would want to add something more. Just a moment. I can also have like this. Suppose my business is sensitive to assets. I can have this bifurcation like this. I break open the fixed assets and the current assets. I differentiate between them. So it all depends on what my business, sorry. Did I do something wrong here? So here I can, but how do I do this? I would always discuss this classification with my implementing partner. I would understand his business and I would understand how has he classified as of now, as is. Suppose he has classified his general ledger accounts in the non-SAP system, right? I would study the current system and I would design after understanding his expectations and after understanding how he wants to set up his business, how he wants to look at his business after SAP is how I design the requirement. But necessarily each and every decision will be decided or will be discussed by both the parties, by the implementing company as well as by the implementing partner. Both the companies will be discussing this requirement. Whatever may be the decision making, not only regards charts of account, not only regards anything. Clear? So I hope we have understood this. So yesterday, I think discussing this was a little premature. I think we just saw this word somewhere and then later I started what is a reconciliation account, correct? Now in SAP, talking about, so the reconciliation account concept in SAP is applicable only in 3 areas. One is your payables, one is your receivables, and the other one is your assets. Here. So when we take up the individual submodules, we will get into a deeper understanding of what is a reconciliation account. So the reconciliation account yesterday, if you have read the, let me go through the. So we are through with what is a chart of accounts and what exactly this is. Yeah. So we saw what is a country chart of accounts. I'm quickly getting into all this because we have already had an elaborate discussion. But in case if you read and still have some, see, this is what we were yesterday also we discussed as to what are the two blocks of the general. If you take a general ledger account, how is it being broken up? How is it being classified? Or where exactly the GL account should be available for the person, for the end user to enter the transactions. Okay. Now, any general ledger account will consist of two different areas. One is the chart of accounts area. The other one is the company code area. So yesterday we took the example. We took an example of the rent account. I forgot the example. We said the place in Bengaluru was an owned space, and other two states they were paying the rents for a business. I hope you remember. Or you want me to explain this again? Yeah. No questions till now. I'll pause here for a minute or two. Just let me know if you want to understand any of these things. Of course, this I'll be taking up. But if you're clear with this, as per what information I gave you yesterday, I would move ahead. Or if you still want to have little more clarity on this particular aspect, please let me know. I'll wait for 2 minutes. Okay, I will go ahead with now. Let me just repeat this. Now, if you take the business of Reliance, for example, you have, let us take Jio itself. Now, Jio has an office in Bengaluru, has an office in Mumbai, has an office in Delhi, Kolkata. This is a scenario. Okay. Now, in Bengaluru, Jio's business is conducted on the own premises. So Jio Bengaluru need not have to pay rent. But when you talk about the same Jio business in, say, Mumbai or Kolkata or in Delhi, let us say Jio Mumbai is paying rent. It is operating its business on a rented space. So also Reliance Delhi. Now, the Reliance Jio is paying rent in Mumbai and in Delhi. Then only in Bengaluru it is not paying the rent. Are you understanding the scenario? So what would happen? I'm just giving you an example. That's the rent account. What needs to be operated for Reliance Jio in Mumbai and in Delhi is not applicable in Bengaluru. But the rent account should exist in the master because Jio business is very well using. I'm not bothered whether Jio Bengaluru is using, whether Jio Mumbai is using, whether Jio Delhi is using. I'm not worried. But is it using? Yes or no? Yes. So in that case, I would definitely want to have this general ledger account in my master. So the rent account should be available at the chart of accounts level. Let me also add a point here when it comes to, when I finish this, I will put across a point. Now, because Jio Bengaluru is not using the rent account, okay, it can be made non-operative. You're not going to use it. So it can be deactivated as far as the Jio Bengaluru company code is concerned. But whereas the Reliance Delhi, Reliance Kolkata or Reliance Mumbai, they are very well using the rent account. So these company codes at Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata. For these company codes, the rent account should be active, should be operational. So in that case, what point I would necessarily want to make is for a general ledger account, I think it's okay if I use the shortcuts, the GL account, the general ledger account to be used. It must exist in both chart of accounts level and the company code level also. Any general ledger account, if at all I'll have to pass a transaction or I would want to transact using a general ledger account, that general ledger account must be existing both at the master level, at the chart of accounts level, and as well as at the company code level. Very, very essential. Yep. I hope things are getting a little clearer and also interesting. Yep. Perfect. Now, when we were talking about the reconciliation account, what is this concept in SAP? So you would have come across reconciliation in a different scenario in your BCom or maybe in your PUC or even in your CMS, bank reconciliation, BRS. But here, that's why I said there is a lot of unlearning to be done in SAP. Okay, so that BRS, just keep it aside for a minute and try to understand what SAP reconciliation is all about. This GL account helps you to aggregate all the balances of your individual sub ledgers. Let me also start using the SAP specific terms now. Individual subledgers are your individual customers and vendors. It is not your leading ledger and your non-leading ledger. That concept is different. Do not mix that with this. So whenever, see, my business is huge. I am dealing with, say, 500 to 600 customers or vendors. So at the end of my financial year, or rather, I want to know the position as to what is my liability and what is my asset. Liabilities in the form of my payment to be made to the vendors. I have bought the raw materials. I need to make a payment. So how do I get this figure? So all the 100 vendors or all the 200 vendors or 300 vendors, they would have got some balances. I would have to pay them some money. So how do I get the sundry creditors figure? So that I can plan my funds. I can plan my cash flow. Yeah. So this is achieved through a concept called as your reconciliation. So just know this at this moment. Later, I will tell you how this gets connected to your individual vendors and customers. It is nothing but a general ledger account. your reconciliation account is also a general ledger account in chart of accounts. Okay. It is also a simple general ledger account in your operational chart of accounts. Let me also put this as operation. So for the current moment, you should know this. And also one more point, it helps us to aggregate, or it helps us to get the figures of the sundry creditors and the sundry debtors. How it is being achieved? Let us answer that question a little later. Yeah, perfect. Now I will stop the reconciliation account here. Now let us go through the your study content. Yesterday we saw this slide, if you remember, and I also said that there is a specific logic being followed in also designing the general ledger accounts, if you remember. Can you see this? I gave you an example. There has to be some logic in whatever you do in SAP. There has to be some relevant logic. See, in this case, I have designed the general ledger accounts for fixed assets. Now, what is my aim? All the GL accounts starting with 10, they belong to plant and machinery. 20 is land and building. 30 is vehicles. 40 could be your furnitures and fixtures. Clear? So like this, I design a logic as a consultant. I would create the general ledger accounts in some logic. Clear? This is exactly what we follow as consultants. This is simply not a number. There would be a logic behind this. Clear? So when I show you the SAP system, I will tell you what is an open item. Okay, what is a line item? Clear? But all you need to know is a very, very important point, that whenever you want to transact using a specific general ledger account, it should be available at both the levels, chart of accounts and at the relevant company code. Just bear this points in mind. Okay. So it says in a manufacturing company, every business transaction holds a significance for both finance and your management account. So how do these two modules talk? I will take it up when I do the CO module. When we start discussing about the management accounting module, I will tell you how the data is flowing from the finance module to the CO module or to the management accounting module. Clear? Just hold on till that. But you should understand that there is a methodology, and you as a consultant, it is the job of a consultant. Okay. The end user may or may not even know how the data is flowing from between the modules. Let it be FI and CO, let it be FI and MM, let it be FI and SD. All he wants is operations to happen peacefully without any errors. That is all. As long as this happens, he is more than happy. He does not want to know the link being set up, how the each module is talking to each other. He's not interested. Clear? GL account master data defines how the business transactions are posted. So yesterday I told you the meaning of what is posted. Posted is nothing but saving a transaction in SAP. That is all. Did we get introduced to what is an account type? ADKMS. Yeah. Did we see that yesterday? We very well saw that yesterday. You see it here. These are your account types. Account types basically they define the nature of the general ledger account, whether it is assets, whether it is your customers, whether it is your vendors, whether it is your materials. Clear? So I was just drawing a parallel between what you are seeing here and how we have already connected it. Clear? So yes, you are seeing this cost element, right? As far because you have already seen this term, this is how, let me tell you what is the scenario behind this. It is through the cost element category that the finance module talks to the CO module. Right? It is through the general ledger account. It is your cost element is nothing but a general ledger account being defined in your operational chart of accounts. How it is being defined tells the system whether it is reflecting on the management accounting or is not reflecting in the management account. It is basically how you define the general ledger account, right, as a cost element or whatever it is. We will come to this later. Clear? But you should know that it is through the general ledger account or through the cost element. And what is a cost element? What did I say? It is also a general ledger account. So you see, everything comes back to the finance. Everything talks to the finance area. So you see how critical it is, right? All right. So at this moment, you should know that it is through the cost element that the finance module talks to the CO module. So we have seen what is an account group. OK, so I don't have to elaborate much on this unless and until you have any questions about it. OK, any questions you have, you're most welcome to interrupt me. Not a problem. See, you can have, for example, cash accounts. See, what did I say? It all depends on the requirement of your implementing partner. Or you can just have two account groups, balance sheet, P&L. That is all. But you should understand what my implementing partner is asking for. Okay. And you saw the number ranges also. What are the number ranges? The GL accounts, number 100 to 1 to 100, 101 to 200. These are the number ranges. How do you think this is going to help me? Suppose you're working in an SAP environment. I will ask you to take a balance of the fixed assets. I don't know which GL account. I will tell you, please take the balance of the furniture account. So you are using the SAP system. You're the user of an SAP system. So you will know, you will restrict your search from 1 to 100 because you know that a fixed assets falls between 1 to 100. GL account number 1 to GL account number 100. So instead of searching all the 1,000 general ledger accounts which your chart of accounts has, you can very well restrict your search to 1 to 100 only. Now, did you understand how and why you need to classify your general ledger accounts or you categorize your general ledger accounts? Now you know the reason, right? The business reason. Simple. This is exactly what you mean by the number ranges. No special meaning assigned to it or attached to it. Yeah. Company code segment. Are we aware of this? Chart of accounts segment, chart of accounts area, company code area. That's it. Here you have used the word segment. That's it. Nothing much. Yeah. Now I will probably at the appropriate moment, I will tell you what he means by this. The fields are required. The fields are optional. The fields that do not show up. Where exactly this information is contained. Please hold on. I will tell you. Okay. Let's not hurry. So from the previous slide, you can very well understand that I can control the appearance. Can you see this? I can make the information as mandatory, meaning I would always allow I always want the end user. I think probably now you are comfortable with who an end user is. I'm entering a transaction and my business wants me to enter some mandatory data. Now, for example, you enter a journal voucher or a stationery account. So what you normally do in your examinations? Once you pass this entry, what do? You always say, being the you write this explanation, being the books and pencils purchased. So what is it doing? It is actually giving more information to the transaction. What is the stationery that I purchased? Let us say for 500 rupees. Now, doesn't this complete the information? So this 500 rupees I have expended on the books and pencils. I can also say being 100 books and 25